Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. You're joining us in this conversation with Mr. Prashant Kumar, the MD and CEO of Yes Bank. And of course, Yes Bank has today announced that the bank is completely out of the reconstruction scheme that was initiated back in March of 2020. And now the bank is looking at a way to try and dispose of all the stress assets of its book to a partner ARC, that is JC Flowers. Uh, Mr. Kumar, just trying to understand, you've come out of the reconstruction scheme. What has changed at the bank in these last 2 years? What does it look like from 2023 onward?
So I think when we started the journey in, let's say, March 20, one of the critical issue was that our deposit book has actually reduced to almost half. We were having 1 lakh 5,000 crores. Our CD ratio was 166%. We have to increase our deposit book and also more from the retail. I think we have done it successfully. Deposit book has already now moved from 1 lakh 5,000 crores to 1 lakh 93,000 crores. CASA ratio has improved by 500 basis points, and our cost of funding has come down below 5%. We are opening more than 1 lakh new saving bank and current account every month. Similarly, on the loan side also, we have started showing growth. Last year it was 9%, but actually we have disbursed more than 70,000 crores. We have also made the recoveries of 13,000 crores in the last 2 years. And in FY21, so precisely in July 2020, we could raise 15,000 crores in our FPO as the equity. And in September 2020, we could return back the 50,000 crores line which was given to us by RBI. After that, it's only a growth phase. Within the bank, there has been a lot of change in the governance and the transparency. Today, we are very proud to share with you that the standards of governance and the transparency and the compliance, which has improved in the bank, I would be saying that is the best in the class. And in the DNA, in the thought process of everybody, the compliance and the transparency and the governance is the most important part. And I think that gives us a lot of confidence that going forward, when we are moving on the growth path, the bank would not make the mistakes. Okay? But we still was having one factor which was impacting the balance sheet, that was a very high amount of gross NPA. Our gross NPA number is 14. With the adequate provisioning of 81, the net NPA number is only 4.5. But still, if you see from the depositor, from the investor, any third party, a bank with a 14% NPA would not look very attractive. We also understand that resolution of such a large stress pool within the bank would take at least next 3 to 5 years. So I think it was important for us to clean the balance sheet. For last 2 years, actually, we are working out the alternates, what best suit for the bank in terms of taking care of this large stress pool. 1 year back, we invited expression of interest from the large global players who have the expertise and also the capital. And finally, when we have announced on 15th, we could zero in JC Flowers ARC as one of our partners. Our thought process is to create a credible platform in the country which can make the recoveries, do the resolution for the large stress assets which are sitting across different financial institutions. Very recently, Government of India has set up a national ARC. We also want to set up a platform, not to that magnitude, but definitely a platform which is as credible as any other NRC which is supposed to be, which can also aggregate the assets which are sitting in different financial institutions and become a very good platform for the recovery and the resolution. And we are seeing this as a good business opportunity for the bank to go forward.
Right. Okay. Let me break this down a little bit. So this ARC route, now India's history with asset reconstruction companies and the success rate that they have in terms of recoveries has not been something that is very great to talk about. I'm just trying to understand why the ARC route was the preferred route to take care of this pool of assets, and whether something else was also being discussed.
No, I think within the Indian regulation, ARC is the only route through which you can assign your stress asset pool. If this is the only route, now instead of assigning to a third party where you don't have the confidence, where they don't have the capacity to buy such a large pool, we thought why not to create a platform, which is not only a platform for the financial system, but also a good business opportunity for the bank.
Okay.
Since bank has also demonstrated the capabilities to resolve and the recover in last 2 years, we are of the view that such capabilities, if there is a partnership with a global player who also comes with their own pedigree and the expertise and also the right kind of capital,
Yeah.
I think it can be a successful venture.
Okay, fair enough. When this entity takes shape, right before that you have to complete this Swiss auction where you
Yeah.
set the base bid at about 11,100 odd crore for that 48,000 crore pool of assets. What happens if your preferred partner gets outbid in this process?
So in that case, actually, the whole portfolio would be assigned to the successful bidder. Okay. Whether we would be having a partnership with that successful bidder would depend on the mutual engagement between two of us. It is not a condition in the Swiss challenge that any successful bidder has to have a 20% partnership with Yes
Okay. Okay. The reason I bring up that
Bank.
question is because you've selected JC Flowers after a prolonged
Right.
sort of selection process, and then suddenly at the end of the bid, they are not now the winning bidder. So is it that simple to just change partners in this kind of a platform creation?
But this is as per the regulations. You have to go through this, and to reach a destination, you have to take a first step. So I think this is the first step, and within the regulatory guidelines, we need to work.
Okay, fair enough, sir. Once this pool goes away, now I, there's already it's been about 2.5 years since the reconstruction plan was introduced. Your shareholders who entered at that point in time, the financial institutions who entered at that point in time, had a 3-year moratorium. Uh, is this also a way to show that their investment is probably now worth a little bit more than what it was, say, in March 2020?
So it is not focused only on the financial investor. I think as a bank, we have the responsibility towards all our investors, not only the existing investor, but also the prospective investor. For any investor, if the balance sheet becomes strong, it becomes clean, it definitely gives a lot of comfort.
Okay, fair enough, sir. Talking about the future of investments in bank now, obviously this is geared towards showing a cleaner balance sheet to a prospective investors who might come in or investors who might come in. I'm just trying to understand what is it that you're looking for in an equity partner.
So fundamentally, we are looking at a credible name. Okay. Because the issue is that a good name also gives a lot of comfort to our retail investors. The second thing, they should have a long-term view on the bank. Because if anybody is expecting a return, say 12-month, 18-month kind of thing, I think that investment in the bank would not be the correct one.
Mm.
So we are looking for a long-term investors who understand the story of the bank, who have a belief in the franchise of the bank, and who would be comfortable in terms of supporting us for a long term.
Okay, you've expressed that you want to raise about $1 billion worth of
Yeah.
capital, and when we look at the current market capitalization of the bank, that would work out a little bit more than the 20% mark. I'm just trying to understand where does how many investors does it take to then fill that 1 billion?
I think we can do our own mathematics, but I think within the constraints we need to see it has to be multiple. Definitely, this kind of capital from one investor would be very very difficult in the current regulatory guidelines. Okay, so it can be a multiple thing. It can be any route of QIP, pref route, anything. But depending on the market condition and the interest and what is good for the bank, I think the board would take that call.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar, for joining us in this
Thank
conversation.
you.
Thank you so much.